Hey everyone, it's Rawdawg Rory here with Answers from the Fan. And today, Shelly Bremer asked, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I kind of suck at that sometimes. How does someone that is already thin go on the raw diet without looking anorexic? And this is something I hear a lot. And it's a concern of a lot of people that we see some people in the raw food community and the health food community who go hardcore with cleansing. They tend to look a little skinny and scrawny, and I've actually experienced that a bit during my raw transition. Right after I lost, like the 90 pounds, I dropped even a few pounds under that, and I noticed like a lot of what I thought was muscle in the beginning of my raw journey turned out to be fat. And that all went, and I started looking pretty scrawny, to the fact where even my mom was concerned. When I told her how much weight I lost, she was like, oh my gosh, she was like, you should be careful with that, I don't want you looking too, being too scrawny, I want you to be healthy. And I was like, I got it covered. So one of the things I did to, bring myself out of that whole scrawny vegan look was to, one, incorporate fats into my green smoothies. I would, not everyone, but I would do some green smoothies with fats in them. Like that, was the inspiration for me to make my green vanilla bean shake, where I use almond milk as the base of it. And by combining fats with your raw greens, it allows you to absorb more of the amino acids and thereby proteins, and use them in building up your muscles when you're doing a raw diet. That's one of the things that helped. And if you notice that you're looking a little bit too scrawny, another thing that helped me when I was going through this portion of my transition was I would eat bigger meals less often. And this kind of slows down the digestion and the metabolism a little bit. You'll notice that a lot of diets, even not raw diets, they'll tell you to eat a lot of small meals throughout the day. And what that does is basically keeps your metabolism fired up constantly. And, we find that when you get into raw foods, you could be like, since you don't feel full, you be snacking, and gradually throughout the day. And that's, while it's a good thing, it also will keep your metabolism really fired up. So I found that by eating a couple of really big meals throughout the day, and also blending fats into my green smoothies, and using some kind of good fat with my salads, like avocados, or salad dressing made with hemp oil, or extra virgin olive oil, that really helped. And the biggest thing that helped me avoid the total scrawny look and helped me get back into where I was feeling like, all right, cool, this is how I want to look on a raw diet, is resistance exercises. Whatever kind of resistance exercises you enjoy, whether they be push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, upper body work, free weights, you got to get those muscles working. That's the number one thing to putting on healthy weight on any diet, is to work your muscles and get some anaerobic exercise in there. That's what really, doing the P90X is what really helped me out. And even just randomly, whenever I feel up to it, all right, I'm gonna bust out a few push-ups, just a little bit at a time. It adds up, and it's also really great for your bone density. So those three things, I would say, were the things that really helped me keep from being too scrawny on my raw diet. So I would say to anybody facing that challenge, give those things a shot and see if they work for you. And Shelly also asked, how gradual is reasonable? She says that she found that going from an omni to a raw vegan is a recipe for disaster. So she's been on a straight vegetarian diet for several weeks and may just stick with it until further notice. She has any ideas transitioning without having some big drama over it? I can't afford the seesaw. It's too hard on my body. That's a common problem for a lot of people. And how I did it when I transitioned to raw foods was about a year or two before I even got into raw foods. I had kind of switched over to a vegetarian diet. And I've noticed that throughout my life, for me, this is what worked for me, I went through really gradual changes. I've always, even since I was a teenager, I've been in organic gardening, farming, and, kind of the idea of real foods, growing real foods, producing real foods. But it was a long journey to going from being a total junkivore kid, like growing up. I made a lot of my own foods. I was taking care of myself a lot when I was really young. And I made a lot of bad food choices. I come from a family of people who are really into, you know, getting pizza and drinking a lot of soda. And so it was a gradual change throughout me for my whole life to getting where I'm at now. So, you know, as I transitioned with healthy eating in general, it jumped from, okay, now I'm going to try drinking less soda as a teenager on. That was one of my goals, and eating more vegetables. Then as I started to get older, it started being like, okay, how much meat can I kind of wean out of my diet, reduce my meat intake, red meats, get it down to white meats like chicken, fish. And then from there, when I met my wife Amanda, she was vegan, and I'd always been like dabbling in veganism, vegetarianism, like looking at recipes, trying to figure out what tastes good to me as far as vegan or vegetarian dishes go. And I found that, you know, using some of like the fake meats that are out there, it made my transition to being vegetarian just super easy. And I'd say the toughest part with transitioning from vegetarian to raw vegan for me was just like the cheese, switching over. Dropping the cheese out of there was the toughest leap, but it was all a gradual process for me. And I say for anybody out there, if that works for you, if that's how you like to approach things, that's what worked for me, was going at it very gradually. I did not jump into being 100% raw overnight. I started out with a simple goal of eating 50% raw foods, and it just grew and grew and grew on its own as I found more recipes that worked for me, as I figured out which foods replaced other foods that I was craving. I just let it slowly take on its own life, and at the same time as I was adding more raw foods in, I would tweak my cooked food, the cooked food portion of my diet, to being gluten-free, to being totally dairy-free, and finding what things work with me along those lines. Just make it if you make it a gradual thing where you're replacing the less healthy things in your life with healthier versions, always replacing your food with a healthier version, you know, it's a great way to ease into it. And it also eases the detoxification process too, so it's not a big, you know, system crash and you're not back and forth, because that's a big problem for a lot of people. If you dive into something like this head first, it's a huge shift, not only for you, for your emotional self, it's also a big shift for your physical self. So there'll be a lot of cleansing, a lot of food cravings, and it could be a whole new learning curve, just learning how to prepare raw foods that you really enjoy. So to tackle that all at once, unless you're just, that's your approach, if you're the all or nothing kind of person and that's how you absolutely have to do it, I would say don't do it like that. Ease into it, do it comfortably, do it gradually, learn a lot of cool stuff along the way, and enjoy the process, and it'll avoid a lot of stress on your body and a lot of stress on yourself. So I definitely say go gradual. Whatever works for you is awesome, because in the end it's going to take you where you want to be, and that's the best place to arrive, is where you want to be. So that's my best advice on those things, and I think that, you know, these questions today were really kick butt. Thanks, Shelly, and keep rocking it. Peace.